right, guys, it's the best time of year. Football's back. We're talking NFL Sundays, college football Saturdays, and that glorious grind of fantasy football lineups. This is where your inner GM comes alive. Setting the perfect fantasy roster, screaming at your TV, and making last-minute waiver moves that either make you a hero or the guy everyone ridicules in the group chat. But listen, while you're over here making sure your fantasy team is dialed in, don't let your personal grooming become the guy that gets left on the bench. Let's be honest, nobody wants to fumble their grooming routine. That's where Manscaped's Performance Package 5.0 Ultra comes in, acting as your all-in-one grooming playbook. From keeping things sharp down below with the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, to taking care of those rogue nose and ear hairs with the Weed Whacker 2.0. This is the lineup that'll keep you looking and feeling like a champ on and off the field. Join the over 11 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped, and get ready for kickoff by heading over to manscaped.com. Use the code Bourbon Hunters for 20% off plus free shipping. Trust me, you'll be drafting the real MVP of grooming this season. On this episode, Dude, Brett, JD, and Jason dive into some hard-to-get wild turkey to celebrate Thanksgiving while we answer a listener's question on what brands to use when starting up a bar. Tune in for all the fun on this episode of The Bourbon Hunters. Have you thought about supporting our podcast? Head on over to www.bourbonhunters.com where you can by picking up one of our Kinsey drams, ordering from our partners at manscaped.com, or ordering a bourbon shirt. Thank you for taking time out of your day to join us on our hunt for great bourbon. Reward yourself and sit back, grab a pour, kick up your feet, and enjoy. Welcome to another episode of the Bourbon Hunters. I'm Dude Poole. I'm joined by
Jason C.
JD Fritches.
and
Brett Bryan.
Nice. And we've got our, I guess, what is this, our third annual Thanksgiving episode? I know it's at least our second, but I think we did one before we did one with you.
Yeah.
But Jason, as always, has graced us with a ton of wild turkey products. So we've got a lot that we're going to go through. We'll probably introduce these as we go through them. I think it's probably easier that way. We're going to talk about some fun stuff tonight, too. We had one of our guests, or not guests, I should say, one of our listeners is thinking about opening a bourbon bar and talked about some of the bottles that we would recommend opening a bourbon bar with. So I think we've all kind of just been thinking about those, and it's going to be a range from me anyway of, just staples to, I wouldn't say necessarily unicorns, but maybe some of the harder to get things that I love to see at a bar. That's what I'm going to kind of talk about. So you guys can have your own angle. I don't really care how you approach it. Totally up to you. But if you were to walk into a bourbon bar, what would you love to see on the shelf? I think that by itself would answer the question of maybe what someone should probably, start with.
Yeah, I mean, between starting your own actual bar or even a home bar,
Yeah.
I think there's a definite. I think for me, it's more about like the variety that you want.
Yeah.
It's always good to have like a full stock of. Yeah, I mean, you can always go. We want a bar that has every single unicorn you could think of, with reasonable prices. But I think in the context for me, like a home bar, like when you're trying to start like your collection.
Yeah.
And when people coming over, like what do you want to start with? Like what are those bottles?
And I feel like, I hate to say like Buffalo Trace, but everyone like knows Buffalo Trace, and I feel like home bar or like commercial bar, like you need to have just like plain like regular Buffalo Trace. I love there's a few places here in Columbus that actually use it for their old fashions, and some people think that's like blasphemy to use Buffalo Trace for an old fashioned.
I think that's just completely silly.
Oh, I agree. No, I'm completely with you.
I think you can make an old fashioned technically with anything.
Yeah,
To be honest,
I mean, I've done that. I've made.
At the end of the day, it's bourbon.
Yeah,
It's not. You're not taking someone's gold and melting it down and then turning it into a toilet seat. You're making something to drink with something that was made to be drank.
The last Booker's I had was hot as fuck. I made old fashions out of it.
Yeah.
You know, seriously. And they were good old fashions. They were strong as shit, though.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You know what I mean? You'd only have probably like one or two.
Whoa. You're not using the Weller Special Reserve today, are you?
So real quick, before we get started too much into this and get too deep, the first thing in our glass tonight is Wild Turkey Austin Nichols Wild Turkey. It is an 8-year-old, 101 proof. And if you had to date this, when would you say this was most likely released year-wise? Do you have any idea?
In 1960s.
It's on the cap.
What does it say?
89.
There you go, 1989.
Right.
Oh, you know why? And that's why I got it, because those 89s were supposedly a really, really good year for Wild Turkey.
I'll tell you right
same
now.
year as my cheesy gold foil that you guys have had.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
It
Delicious.
smells
The nose.
fucking
It
ridiculous.
smells rich. It's so rich.
I know.
I think, you know what? Let's just do a bottle club episode and we'll do that.
I'll trade you that bridge in Maine.
We'll pivot. And,
Yeah.
So my philosophy with like when I walk into a bourbon bar, I love to see the bottles that I walk in anticipating I'm not going to buy because they cost too much. You know, there's
Yeah.
bottles I do pay for, but it's hard for me to justify spending the money to have a sip when I know I've got, you know, X, Y, and Z at home.
Right.
Yeah.
And to be honest, so one of the things that really bugs me about, I know I'm segueing a little bit here. One of the things that bugs me, and I know that they have to kind of balance it out with having cool things in stock and not like, and charging like what you charge. If you make a unicorn super, you know, cheap, it's not going to be there very long.
Yeah.
But if you make it so crazy expensive, then you're now just having it sit on your counter to look good for a year when no one's actually going to order it.
You know what I want to see? I want to see like the rare breed where it's got the current proof, and then also the 112.8, I think, which was the previous batch. I want to see different years of like a bottle to where I can maybe side by side.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's one of the things that I like about some of the, you know, and I don't think you could do this as a brand new bar, but one of the things that I like about a bar that serves bourbon is like, say, somewhere, for example, like the Century Bar out in Dayton,
Oh, yeah.
where they've got so many things that their prices are not outlandish, but because they've got so many things to offer that, you know, not everyone's going to go for, I mean, your newbies might all go for like a Blanton's or a BTAC or something like that, but they have some crazy like Four Roses, you know, Austin Nichols Wild Turkeys and special releases of different things that the real drinkers are going to come in and try so many of those other things that they're not going to go so fast through something because the prices are not unreasonable.
I think what's a highly underrated part of a really good and successful bourbon bar
Atmosphere.
is a knowledgeable bartender
Oh,
staff.
for
yeah.
sure. 100%.
You should be able to
can't
ask
just
that
have
bartender,
Yeah.
what's that? Where's it from? They should know exactly what's in each of those bottles because
Century Bar has that, I feel like.
they do. They
Yeah.
do. Century Bar is amazing that way.
And they tell a little story too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's what keeps people engaged. Like you don't want to ramble on for like 5 minutes, but like you know, and just like a little and just something that like piques your interest.
Yeah, I don't want some like douche flute with a freaking
No.
pop collar telling me behind the
No.
bar that it's Pappy 15, it's the best ever. Like, shut up. Like, tell me something.
Yeah.
Give me some knowledge about what's behind your bar. I want to know about that bottle.
I want Lou
Yeah.
is who I want. I want Lou.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like
You want
talking
Lou.
to me.
Yeah.
So I think there's two approaches to maybe not right out of the gates your bourbon bar, and we're going to talk about what you would buy to begin with. But I think there's two long-term goals for your bourbon bar, and you could go either direction or both potentially. Somewhere like, you know, up in Delaware, you know, OPA, where they are crazy with all their single barrel picks.
Yeah.
And there's a ton of them, and they're all generally pretty good.
And they're reasonably priced.
Yeah, and I feel like that's an easier way to do reasonably priced bourbon is with single barrels. But I think one of the nice things about that is they had a Millennium there, and they get some crazy stuff and some BTAC and some stuff like that too. Which
It sells though.
It does, yeah,
sells.
because it's not over unreasonably priced. It's
I mean,
just
and,
right.
yeah, people
you
want
know.
to try it.
It's on the high end, but not unreasonably high. And then the other direction, I think, long term, is somewhere like a Century Bar where you have all this crazy history in a bar. You know, when you're chasing down like old stuff that just is like what we're drinking right now. I haven't had a sip of it yet. We're going to dive into that here in just a second.
Shit,
Because
mine's
everyone's
gone.
faces,
Which one?
everyone's face is what we're drinking. This Austin Nichols.
So this this like year range from Austin Nichols, 1987 to like 90. It's supposed to be a really special year, just from the research I've done with Wild Turkey. This is just like straight up, just caramel, toffee, butter, pecan in a glass. It's ridiculous.
There's some like rye spice in there too that I like.
The spice is there, but like Austin Nichols, like for people that don't know a little bit of the history, it was kind of the late 1800s. I think it was like the 1860. So like 1880 or something like that. Rye is not good.
Yeah.
Dude's face right now. He just went from 6 to midnight.
I was already at 9 just sitting there holding
I think it was
glass.
like the late 1870s, like 1878 or something like that. You had, what's his name? James Nichols, I think. James Nichols, he purchased this pretty much a part of a company called Fitz in Austin. And when I say Fitz, I think it was Fitts, something like that. Not like old Fitz, but Fitz in Austin. Then it eventually became Austin Nichols. They kind of combined them. And then, so do you guys know? So you remember the Whiskey Baron series?
Yeah.
Yep.
So the one that everyone forgets about is the Old Rippy.
That's the one.
Yeah, we were trying to
never
think of that.
remember that
You never
one.
remember?
Yeah. And you never see it anywhere.
Yeah, so the Rippy brothers, they actually, even before Austin Nichols came into the picture, they built a distillery on Wild Turkey Hill in Lawrenceburg, even before that, like the 1870s. And then eventually, then there was the whole story of how that whiskey coming out of that distillery ended up on the, the whole, the turkey shooting trip, or they went on a hunting trip.
Right.
And they were like, hey, bring some of that Wild Turkey bourbon along.
Yeah.
So once that happened, Austin Nichols then started pretty much just sourcing from Wild Turkey, and then that name stayed on the bottle until I think it was actually the 2000s when I think about it, like 2012, 2014 or something like that. So
That's really cool.
yeah, really cool,
story.
really cool little story.
Yeah.
So what do we guys, I mean, I know you kind of mentioned a few things, but what do you guys all get on this?
I mean, I know it's Wild Turkey when I sip it. It's got all of the characteristics of turkey. It's got cinnamon.
Even the nose is like very
So
full.
much cinnamon.
Yeah.
Really from
Yeah. I mean, if anybody wonders if a bottle stays good, this is 1989.
Yeah.
And it tastes fantastic.
And this is pleasant cinnamon. I don't always like cinnamon candy and stuff like that, but this is very pleasant.
I can make an argument for like a cinnamon, like almost like a light cappuccino note.
Oh, yeah.
It's so good, like a little coffee bean on the very back end of it.
On the back end, yeah. Yeah.
But up front, it's kind of like classic turkey with just some of like those richer kind of old school flavors.
I mean, it is. It's just rich.
Hits me in the sides of the tongue really well that I
very
like.
rich.
It's got that oily. What do you think they were probably distilling at this age or this year?
Oh, this was probably their low entry proof, I would imagine.
So what was that? Like a 105, 10?
Yeah, 107.
107.
100-ish. around
Nice.
that
No
time.
wonder I freaking like this.
And honestly, I know that all these places are trying to save money or make extra money or whatever, make their dollar go further, whatever you want to call it. But man, there is a definite mouth experience difference between something that is barreled at a lower entry proof than something that is, especially when they're going to proof it down to like a 101 or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, think about this: if it was 107, depending on where it was in the warehouse, this could be close to barrel proof.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was low down, you might be it might have lost some proof points.
Yeah, it was 107. Then later it was increased to 110, and then eventually 115. So, yep.
Which
So,
isn't too bad.
on the
115 is still reasonably low comparatively.
On the finish, it's giving me like that
Damn, man.
tiramisu.
Yeah, see? Right?
Good call out,
A
JD.
little bit of like
Little
that
coffee bean in
coffee cream.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying, like a
And
latte.
it's got that cinnamon dust on top. And, I mean, it's,
yeah.
That's like my favorite dessert
so
is
good.
tiramisu.
oh,
Oh my god,
It
I
is
freaking
not mine.
It
But
is
that
my
one, the one we had
absolute
at Tartan
favorite.
that was
Yeah.
soaked in bourbon.
oh man, yeah.
That sounds
And it was like a pumpkin spice flavored.
It was.
That's
so
just how
good.
you make something good even better. Just soaking in bourbon.
Well,
Yeah.
they did our pick there, and then did like a
Yeah.
whole thing around it, and they did 1910, 1920, and then the signature
100
100
proof.
So good.
And
And
the
then
signature
our
100
bottle.
they had done with what was the food that they did with
That
it?
was
The
with the
bacon.
bacon, yeah, triple smoked bacon
pink
with
peppercorn
pink
crust?
peppercorns.
Ooh,
and
I'm sad I missed that.
It made you get
Jason was invited.
it made you get the
No, I know.
spiciness out of an Old Forester 100 that I've never gotten before. It was phenomenal.
awesome.
It was a really neat pairing. But
Next
anyway,
time I'll be there. I was out of the country.
yeah, you missed out. That was you, but
I was in
what
Spain.
you did was much better.
The Drunken
So-
Muscles with the 1910.
Yeah, that was good too. But I didn't think it really complimented the bourbon much. But the Drunken Muscles were outstanding.
Yes.
All right.
I'm glad you guys figured, for Thanksgiving week.
Damn, man.
Kick it off with something special.
You're
I mean,
always,
this
you
is-
are always
yeah.
bringing like bottles that are just out. It's like
I really wanna buy one of
It'd
these.
be like if you invited me to a party with models. You're always bringing in stuff like outside of my league. I feel like.
It's like an Epstein party. It's no kidding.
Jesus, shut the.
I mean, if we're starting a bar, this is something I want there.
Whoa. Yeah, have fun.
Yeah.
Finding that. So let's go around first before we go to the next bottle. First
Smell the
round
glass.
of things.
I already cleaned it.
First round of things that we think we would start a bar with. I know you said Buffalo Trace. You go ahead if you have an idea.
yeah, I mean, you got to have the core lineup of
Right.
of
That's what I
Buffalo
figured this
Trace
first round would
bottles.
kind of be.
You're gonna have to have Buffalo Trace. You have to have Wild Turkey. Get your Wellers in there.
Your Wellers.
Doesn't have to be all the Wellers, but at least
a
have
Z.
foolproof, antique, green label.
Yeah, those three for sure.
Get your Colonel Taylors, whatever you can get in there. But I also do think you always need to have like you need to have your core bottles, and this goes for even your home bars. If you're thinking, okay, what the hell do I even start a home bar with? If I need to, because I think the jump reaction, like off the jump, like you want to get anything that's allocated for your bar, and you don't necessarily need to do that right away.
I don't think so.
No.
Yeah.
So start with like your Elijah Craig. Like my philosophy
gonna
always
say.
is to just start stuff that has an actual history and a story behind it, and then you could build around that collection. So
Yeah.
start with Elijah Craig, father of bourbon,
Standard small batch.
standard
Elijah
small
Craig.
batch Elijah Craig. Yeah, the story is probably bullshit, but it's a well-known.
But here's the
story.
thing: unless you've been to the Bourbon Trail, you probably haven't heard it.
Yeah.
Or if you listen to like tons of these podcasts, you probably haven't
Yeah.
heard it.
Get a small batch, get a barrel proof.
I'm going to barely one up that and say a toasted barrel. I think toasted barrel goes over very well in bars.
I think that's a
for
tier
sure.
2, but
And
yeah.
it's on the shelf everywhere here now.
No,
That's
but
why
what I mean by that is core stuff: Buffalo Trace, Elijah
Yeah.
Craig,
Yeah, like
Old Forester,
Old Forester
When you-
first single
Woodford
barrel.
Reserve.
Yeah, when you get into the finishes, that's like when you're building around the core.
Right.
Okay.
So I think like Wild Turkey 101 is your core. Elijah Craig.
Oh yeah, Wild Turkey. one. Good call.
You need a weeder in there. So get a Maker's Mark. Get a Maker's Mark 46. Get a Maker's Mark, just a general one. People love Maker's Mark. It goes well with cocktails.
Yeah.
Do whatever. I think you need a Four Roses single barrel in there. The 100 proofer, not so much. You could go small batch select, but just get a Four Roses because it's something different than other stuff you get. Pick something from Jim Beam. Usually Knob Creek people love. Then you can get into an MGP. What's a good accessible MGP? There's so many different variations, but get it from the source. Get a George Remus. Get a highest rye. Get a regular bourbon.
Remus
This way it's
Repeal.
coming right from Ross and Squibb. It's not sourced. You could always build around that. Then, get your Woodford Reserve Double Oak, which seems to be the favorite, historical. And then, like you said, the Old Forester. I think once you have those core group of brands, then you could start with your finishes.
And those are
your
the ones you
toasteds.
always have in stock. The ones you just
Always.
mentioned, they're always there, always in
Always
stock.
there.
You always have 3 deep or whatever.
And we're leaving out Evan Williams.
Evan Williams, another great addition.
yeah.
Good
for
story.
A couple of bottled
Good
and bonds
story.
too, I think, are important, like a Heaven Hill or a something like that.
Get a bottle and bond. Get a weeder.
A couple of those, so you
Yeah.
can start talking about, like you said, the bartenders that know their history and can talk about some of that stuff.
And this way, if you have beginners that come to your house, if you're starting this, you could kind of tell them a little bit about the whiskey.
Yeah.
Tell them why the Bottle and Bond Act was so important, and tell them this is a weeded bourbon versus a rye bourbon. This is a 4-grain. And you could kind of build it up from that, and then you start outside the box. Look at distilleries outside of Kentucky because there's a lot of them now. To Brett's point. Finished whiskeys. Look at your toasteds. Look at your.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's get
Yeah.
into the next
Let's
drink
get into
here.
that one.
Let's get into the next drink. What are we doing next year?
Russell's 10?
Yeah, the Russell's 10 LL/ME, the one that everyone's going.
That's the
apeshit
one
for.
everyone's like right now blowing up all the forums.
Yeah, I did a video on it and it got like 40-something gazillion views. It was ridiculous.
My
I'm like,
Discord went nuts in one day that I follow
mine
all about
did
people
too.
talking about this. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And so I read. That's why I texted you. I was like, what the hell is this all about?
So here's the story.
Yeah.
Russell Reserve with the laser code, LLME, on the back of
on
it.
the bottle. Yeah.
If you're a Wild Turkey nerd, historically, these laser code things have come up in the past. So back in 20... What is that?
Still intact.
Yeah, yours isn't from 1980. Yours isn't from 1989.
So historically, so back in like 2019, there was the whole rumor that Wild Turkey 101 had older stuff in it because Long Branch like took off. So all the 8-year that was generally being put into Wild Turkey 101
Was going to the Long Branch.
was going into Long Branch. So they put 10-year stuff into Wild Turkey 101
No
for like a
shit.
short stint, and you could kind of taste the difference when you're doing that. Apparently, it happened shortly thereafter with Rare Breed. Yeah, I need a new thing. Apparently, it happened shortly thereafter with Rare Breed, and we've had some other instances with it that have popped up. But this one, the reason why Russell's 10 LL/ME got so popular, there was a rumor that the same bottling date that's on here was basically around the same time that they were filling Russell's 15, when they were filling those bottles. So the rumor was that rejected 15-year barrels, or 15-year barrels they didn't seem that were up to snuff to go into the Russell's 15, made its way into the Russell's 10, into this LLME, because it's the same bottling date.
So
Or around the same time.
I wouldn't say that you're friends with Bruce, but you probably have the ability to ask him questions, right?
I didn't get to ask him, but it was... So this was an unsubstantiated rumor.
What about Rare Bird? Did he
So
find
Rare
out?
Bird had talked to someone, and apparently 15-year barrels were not put into here. However, there was older whiskey that went into this batch, and we're not sure how far down the line it goes. Does it get into LLM, F, G? We don't know. But I will say that compared to other Russell's 10 years that I've had, this does seem to be a little bit more dense and richer, but I haven't...
I'm not traditionally a Russell's 10 fan.
That's the
Same.
thing. That's
I'm
the
not
thing.
either.
Like
The nose is
I've
nice.
I haven't been a big fan of Russell's 10-year for a while, so I'm not really sure. I did compare it to an older one that I had personally, which was even before the new label.
Yeah.
And this one was substantially better.
I've got one back there too. If we want to do
Yeah.
a real quick comparison, an old label one.
Yeah, we could try that.
But
yeah.
I think we've all poured, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you kind of going through the nose, it does seem like there's a little bit of a...
Because the nose on Russell's 10 is very underwhelming traditionally.
Yes.
Right? And because I love Russell's.
It almost
That's my-
smells thin usually, which
does.
is weird to me. And
This is a better nose than mine.
That's funny. That's what I said in the video. I'm like, it usually
No.
just smells thin.
Yeah. No.
Comes off. Yeah.
Hey, right there. Yeah.
right there.
Well, and he knows that I don't really get a chance to watch. I do watch your videos. I usually watch your pre-canned ones. I'm almost never able to join your lives, but I'll watch some of your not pre-canned, but recorded and edited ones. But it's like I'll go through a phase of watching 4, and then I don't watch them for a month, and then I'll watch another.
Yeah.
So, this smells a little nicer, I would say, than the standard 10-year.
It tastes a lot better than the standard 10-year, too.
Still has a thinness to it, though.
It's still a little... Well, I mean,
that's what I
it's
was
still
gonna say.
90 proof.
Yeah.
You're not getting around that
And
part
maybe
of it.
that's the thing about the 10-year I don't like. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
And maybe that's where the thinness comes. While we're drinking through this, what would you...
So after...
Starting a bar, after the core lineup.
where would you go after the core?
I would probably branch out into some of these newer, newer, but also well known now, like 13th Colonies, ASW Fiddler stuff.
So you're talking now, so that's kind of what piggybacking off of what you said.
We're building around what
things that aren't
Jason just
necessarily
talked
Kentucky, but maybe like Green River, some things that
some
are newer,
Chattanooga
but-
whiskey bottled in bonds. Those are great. I haven't had a bad one. They're all different.
Yeah. So my thought,
Nashville Barrel Company.
I had 2 thoughts on mine. So I 100% agree. You have to have a good core. And in building that core, so I'm going to go 2 different ways here, but the first thing is in building that core, you also want to build out your cocktail bourbons. So,
for sure.
so having a few different, and not just using Woodford and everything or Old Forester and everything, but having like 3 or 4 different old fashions and maybe having a different bourbon in each one of those, and not just your standard core stuff, but something that you can get over and over and over again. So having a bartender that knows how to potentially, make a good bourbon cocktail, and I would recommend having 2 or 3 cocktails that aren't necessarily old fashions, but having 3 or 4 different old fashions to lean on.
And have a smoker.
And have a smoker is one or two of the options. When I went to Ritzy's, I think it was, or whatever it was in Montana, amazing bar, Prohibition feel inside, kind of like you felt like you were in like the Great Gatsby book or movie. And in fact, they had a lot of like Remus Gatsby's up there.
Yeah.
But it just had this Prohibition feel to it. But one thing they did is their allocated stuff was pretty overpriced, so I didn't buy any of that from Pours, but their cocktails, their old fashions were amazing. They had like 4 to choose from. 2 of them were smoked, 2 of them weren't, but they were so good.
I always say if you're starting your bar in a specific state, branch out to a bourbon that's local.
Yeah, no, that's always good.
Use that as your cocktail.
Yeah, even if it's not a good bourbon, something you can put in a cocktail and dress it up. And
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, unless it's like a real nasty bourbon, or just something that's not going to really work well with any cocktail, or actually kill the cocktail. Reach out to something local, partner with them. Look at what cocktails you can come up using their brand. And, if use that as your core. And then if someone says, hey, I want an old fashioned, but please use Buffalo Trace, then you change it up.
Yeah. But my thing is, don't make your cocktails just throwaways. Mm-hmm. I think having
has to be an art.
One of the coolest places I've been, and I'm about to go to another place. It'll be last Thursday by the time you hear this. Is called the Copper Spoon in Fort Wayne, and their cocktail list is ridiculous.
Really?
And it's written almost like a book. It's like each page is like there's a kind of like a drawing, and it talks about the drink, and they have a handful of martini, drinks. They have a handful of old fashioned drinks. They have a handful of all these different types. But don't just make an old fashioned a throwaway. Make it an experience. Make it something they've never had anywhere else. And if you can do that around a local bourbon, even better. That's awesome. So that was the first thing I was going to say. The second thing I was going to say is, if you can, do what you're talking about, but by getting some bourbons that aren't necessarily mainstream bourbons, like an Old Elk or a Woodinville or a, different things like that, and start putting those on your shelf so that people ask questions. There's a ton of bars or bottles, like the Woodinville bottles look like great bar bottles.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important thing, is how the bottles look on the bar, because people are going to ask about them.
You got to get a Willett pot still in there.
Oh yeah,
you kind of do.
We got to go back
The
to
big
the
ass
old
one, though,
fashioned.
The big ass one, yeah.
We have to go back to the old fashioned because we have to have a conversation about this. Cherries.
Oh, it's a no-brainer. If you use maraschino cherries, don't
Or
open
Luxardo.
a bar. Don't open a bar.
Luxardo's a good one, right?
No, I'm saying if you use maraschino cherries, don't even bother opening a bar.
Yeah, Luxardos are the...
Luxardos are the ones at a minimum you have to use.
But what's the one even now above a Luxardo?
To me, it's Traverse City.
Yeah, you have a favorite. I know that.
Yeah,
and
but
I like them too.
No, I'm talking about type of cherry.
Ginty from
Bing?
Opa was telling us what
Bing
it was.
cherry?
No.
Well, I think even what you're talking about is a
forget what he
Luxardo
said.
cherry. I think it's a Luxardo cherry.
I thought
regardless.
Ginty said something different when we were there, but
But
I
I
can't
think
remember.
the base of it was a Luxardo. So.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Luxardo is.
I feel like there's another type of cherry that
There may
are
be.
starting to be used.
I do agree with your cocktail comment too, and I think you need to kind of know your audience, because most often, what is it? It's like a couple that comes in there, and most women don't like to drink bourbon.
Yeah.
But if you can make like some fruitier stuff, so we went down on the bourbon trail over in the summer, I think it was,
Oh, that
and
reminds me, yeah. Go ahead.
there was half of the group was women, right? It was all couples that went on this trip, and you go to like certain bars and they can't find anything. They're not drinking bourbon neat. They don't drink old fashions. But when we went to Lux Row, they had like a bourbon margarita, which is weird as that sounds.
No, that doesn't sound weird.
No, that's kind of like the trend right now.
That was their
kind of a bartender
favorite.
being creative.
Yeah.
Exactly,
I like
but that was their favorite drink that they had out of any of the distilleries they went to. it was this bourbon margarita. And so I feel like having something like that, knowing your
I
audience.
like the bourbon margaritas, and they put like a little jalapeno in it, spicy.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
So good.
So places like the Pearl here that does the bourbon bacon beautiful. Now they have that new
It's
one.
gone.
No, but they'll still make it for you if you bug them.
They wouldn't make it for me, and the new one sucks.
I sat at the bar and he made it for me.
The new one, I'll be honest. The new one,
It doesn't suck
It
because I
sucks.
had them both, but it's not.
What the
as
new?
good. Well,
the new seasonal.
before they would
old-fashioned?
do a
Yeah.
larceny fat washed,
it's like a
bourbon.
whiskey sour almost.
and then they did a big huge piece of bacon in there,
Yeah.
like thick candy
Candy.
No,
bacon.
I've seen pictures of it, on
And it
social
was
media.
really good. But then the new one is like a Maker's Mark fat washed as opposed to larceny, and then it's which isn't necessarily bad, but it's just not the same drink.
It tastes like baked beans. Like,
he made
like
the old
brown
one for
sugar
me.
baked beans is what it
Yeah.
reminds me of. Did not like it.
It's almost like the bacon and the candied bacon took too much of a front show on it, or front
Okay.
seat.
Yeah, I could see that being a little weird.
But my point is that's a neat take on, and then like Cap City has this bourbon and water. It's not actually bourbon and water, but that's what it's called, and it's like a grapefruit with lemon and bourbon, and it's my favorite bourbon drink in all of the city.
Yeah, I don't think it can't be understated enough how just a team of great bartenders can just uplift and upgrade any sort of bar experience.
Sure.
With not only cocktails, cocktail creativity, menu creation,
Yeah.
all of it.
So
And knowledge of bourbon, as we spoke
yeah,
about
for sure,
earlier,
100%. So because there's going to be someone there that's just on that fence of getting into bourbon, and they're not quite there yet, but they're starting to.
Yeah.
But core offering, I think those are the big ones, and those you can't really go wrong with just anything that's your standard flagship bourbons. You talked about like some unique stuff. I think unique is a good way to go to build out a collection of, and when you build out those unique ones, get some that are nice looking bottles.
Angel's Envy.
Yeah, Angel's
Yeah.
Envy. I mean,
Angel's Envy, or get some great, even though I don't really see Angel's Envy as the core. I actually would put it as a core for an actual bar.
Yeah.
Because like you guys said, you got people kind of on the cusp of getting into bourbon, and for whatever reason, Angel's Envy has always been a great starter.
It has because it's finished and
yeah.
it gives it a little bit of it takes the edge off of those.
That's why I
sharp-
think a lot of finished bourbon should get into like that second tier, double oaked,
but I just think
wine finishes.
look at those Woodinville bottles. Do they not look like solid bottles? I think Old Elk is another one like that, where they just look good on the shelf, and people are going to ask questions about those. The Old Elk with their antler or whatever it is, the oak stopper.
Bullet's a great bottle too. I think Bullet
Yeah.
looks really like it's a cool bottle.
very
It looks
saloon.
old. Yeah.
Yeah, there's those saddlebag bottles. That's the design of those, and I think that's that's the best thing they've done.
And you need
is the design of
some
that
farm
bottle.
to bottle, like Frey Ranch, and you need some Peerless that do all their stuff in
Yeah,
house.
some like smaller. I wouldn't say craft, but craft type. Distilleries and places. And I think that goes along with the whole local. And everything.
for sure.
But yeah, for me, the next thing, and I think it's overlooked in a lot of places, and some places put too much emphasis in this, but not in the content of what they're serving. The atmosphere and the design of the bar. I think that's super important.
Yep.
Like you need to have sitting areas in a bourbon bar, because bourbon's all about sharing stories and sharing experiences. And I think, too many people get that part of it wrong. You need to have like an area kind of like this, obviously probably decorated better, but something like this where it's like leather couches or semi-leather or whatever, that kind of feel that you're in like a den, you're in a private area and you're sitting there hanging out with your friends talking. It could just be four chairs around a table. It could be, a love seat with two chairs across from a table, something like that. Like, I don't know. I think that's an important part. Obviously, the bar area is important.
I think the design of the bar is vital as well, because I don't know about you guys, and this is actually a good topic. Like, what kind of bars do you like? Like, I love when the bar also kind of wraps around like a horseshoe.
Yep.
Because you could talk to people kind of next to you, across the
Yeah,
bar.
right.
And then it also keeps the bartenders that can kind of turn around back and forth and be interactive with everybody. I love it when it's just like one giant long bar. I understand that part of it. If obviously
It reminds me of that Seinfeld episode when they have to sit at the bar the one time.
Yeah.
Kramer or Newman died.
Yeah,
They're all saying,
Yeah,
and then by
kinda
the time
gets
the
down.
telephone gets down to the end.
Yeah.
You want a Cheers bar.
But here's the problem,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
The only problem with that, and so that makes you have to do something creative with a hanging display of your bourbon. Because the one thing about a nice bourbon bar is the display of all the bottles and all the things you have to offer.
yeah. Like Century Bar has one long
Right.
bar, but they also they kind of supplement that with really cool seating areas
Right.
as well.
What I don't like
And
about that,
when you look at from left to right, that whole selection, even at OPA, you just from left to right, you're just looking.
You're almost
across the-
overwhelmed,
yeah.
but it's also part of the.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
when I was at Century Bar, I couldn't see everything. So
No,
I
you
was
can't. You have
reliant
to walk
on the menu.
or the menu
Right.
or walk the
Yeah.
bar. And if it's really busy, that's kind of annoying. So yeah, I hear you. I hear both of those. So you almost have to kind of figure out.
It's going to depend on what space you have to work with, basically.
Right, true. But when I was saying about those little seating areas, I think you have to almost have like little tucked away alcoves where you can have like privacy but not
Yeah.
lose out on the atmosphere. And then your regular seating and stuff like that. But like on the periphery, if you have these nice little seating areas where people can just kind of hang out in couchy chair type atmosphere, along with what you said about the bar, I think you could even do a long bar that kind of is shaped like a U, but then have like a big wall behind it.
Yeah.
Maybe almost like this, and then back here is the bar, and then so in this area here, you're still like. I know you can't see what I'm doing with my fingers, but real quick.
I want to go back to this real quick.
Yeah. What do you think of it?
I don't like it nearly as much as the Austin Nichols.
Well, I think that's a given.
I don't
That
think
doesn't
you
count.
sure that
I don't
was
think you
clear.
should compare.
It got
just making sure
more
that's clear.
complex the more that I drank
So-
it, though. It really did. Like the first sip, I was like, I'm not overly impressed yet. But the more I drank it, the more I was like, man, I really am enjoying this
That's
more
true.
and more.
I would
The
agree with
cherry
that.
and the oak tobacco
Cherry.
note really kind of open up on the back end of it.
I got a really dark fruit in there, and
Yeah.
I couldn't pick out what. At one point, I thought, is it a plum? Is it a raisin? I don't know. And then I was like, is it grape? I feel like I got like some grape in there at one point, but it was all dark fruit.
I definitely get cherry.
Yeah.
And I think, as you mentioned, that you might have willed it into existence, but that tobacco note came in when you said
Yeah, a
that
little
to
bit.
me. So,
And if
It's
there are,
not-
if there is older whiskey in it, that could be the influence.
and this is definitely better than my tenure.
Okay.
100%.
I still
I-
don't think I'm going to have FOMO and seek it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
If it was there, I would grab it, but I'm not gonna. I mean,
think-
they're all
yeah.
gone.
So, like,
I'm sure.
I give the
I
Austin
doubt
Nichols
it.
a 4.0,
I doubt
and I give this a 3.1.
Yeah. Yeah. I can
you only
see
give that a 4.0.
Yeah,
Man, that's like
I like it a lot.
That's like a 4.4 for
yeah,
me.
I was going to say it's probably a 4.3, 4.2 for
Yeah.
me. The
We
Austin
should probably.
Nichols.
Why don't we try the Jimmy Russell 70th next? Have you guys had that one yet?
I haven't.
I had it once.
They just had it in Ohio this week, right? This
Yeah.
weekend.
Single barrel Saturday, baby.
That's not a single barrel, though, is it?
No.
My buddy sent me a sample, and
That was one of
had
like
it.
the surprise gems. That
Are
and
any
and
of those
Foolproof.
sitting out still somewhere?
Yeah.
The wild turkey.
Oh, those? I
No,
don't know.
probably
I don't
not.
know. I got that on Saturday. I got a Weller
I know
Foolproof.
there was Elijah Craig.
Then I went back
there
in
was still
line
like
and got
30 Elijah Craig barrel proofs
Yeah.
sitting out at Kroger,
Which was
yesterday,
crazy
on
because
Sunday.
there were
yesterday.
11 years. It was 11 years.
No, the one I saw was 8 year.
Oh, the ones at Kroger were 11.
I was going to
years.
get one, but I'm like, I got Bourbon Enthusiast ones coming, so
They must have done multiple because the Kroger
I
over
bought
here
one
on
of those,
Cemetery, they
too.
were all 8 year.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll have to talk about them later. I only bought one. I wasn't
Yeah,
sure.
grab
which one.
grab
I
the Jimmy
told them
Russell
which one.
70th.
Which one is that?
That's
This
the
right here?
that one, yeah. So yeah,
All right.
this was obviously created for the legend. 70 years.
did you get anything?
I'll just use my single. I'll just use my.
Did you get anything else besides those two?
Well, no, that was the only two. I could have actually gotten back in line and got something
Because
else.
the Pursuit
So-
one intrigued me. The Pursuit
yeah,
United
they didn't have the
Double Oaked.
Pursuit
Okay.
at Kroger where I was.
I didn't see it either. So the 70 year, what is the
So it's a blend of 8 and 9 year specially selected barrels that are supposedly Jimmy's favorites.
what's 70?
70
How
is
long
the,
he's been at Wild Turkey?
That's it's his 70th
Jesus.
anniversary.
That's what I
How long
was-
he's been at Wild Turkey.
I knew he was older than 70, so I was like, it can't be his
That's
age.
crazy. He's been there 70 years.
70.
So what is
years.
he? 87, 88?
Yeah, he's 80 something.
Older than
now.
70.
Well, yeah, no shit.
He started at 10.
Yeah, he
He
has.
started at 2 years old.
What's cool about
he's 80 or 72.
What's cool about his story is like he just he worked from the bottom up, and the distiller saw something in him. I forgot the name of the distiller that was there before that kind of took him under his wing, but he saw something in Jimmy, and Jimmy took over, and he's been there ever since. Crazy.
And I love that he's like no plan of retiring. Like, you know what I mean? He's like, obviously he's slowed down.
I don't ever plan on retiring either.
But it kind of just keeps him going, man. You know?
I don't.
Guys, how proud of me are you?
Nice work. Nice work.
That's still more,
I will do
that's still
something.
more than
I'm
I
glad I
would.
got a backup. Half my
but I will
bottle's
not
gone.
work in the middle. Yeah.
Did you get a backup, really?
Yeah, that's why I went on, because I wanted another one of those. So,
Yeah.
yeah. This to me is this is everything you want in 101, but elevated a little bit.
So you like this?
I really enjoy this.
He bought a second one, I would say
and
yes.
plus the fact
What
that
was wasn't there
plus
one
the
that was
fact it
underwhelming
only-
that
it was
came out?
$50.
that was the Generations.
No, that's not the one I'm thinking. I think this is it, and it was $50. I think this is the one, but I don't think it was. Maybe I'm misremembering about it being underwhelming. What's the proof? Is it 101?
101.
Okay.
Yeah, Jimmy's favorite.
And this is the Wild Turkey 70th.
Yep, Jimmy Russell's 70th anniversary edition.
All right. Another step up from the 10-year.
Yep.
This is closer to, in my opinion,
The
that
Austin
the
Nichols.
Austin Nichols.
Yeah.
Yeah. Damn.
It's got such a cream soda sweetness to it. I love it.
Yeah,
Yes.
this is really good.
Oh.
I know. I was like, what was that, JD?
It tickled something.
Something
fancy.
moved. Something
really
hurt-
good. Yeah, it
hurt your
moved a
back
little
there?
bit.
Like,
Something in his pants shifted. Oh.
He moved a pillow on top of his lap, so something's going on.
Oh, so real quick, I got to tell you my Michael Jordan story.
Oh, yeah.
You teased that earlier.
I teased it earlier. So, I was in Phoenix for a bourbon event with Bourbon Lore.
Just recently.
Just recently. This literally happened.
Bourbon Lore, are
last
they doing a
weekend.
book? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it was their Bourbon Lore, Heroes of American Whiskey,
That's what
or
it is.
Legends of American Whiskey book. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'll be doing you'll see a video on it pretty soon. I did an interview with Mason Walker, one of the founders. It's founded by Mason Walker and Clay Risen. Clay Risen is a kind of a world-renowned wine and spirits
Right.
historian, writer. Anyway, they put us up. So Bourbon Lore has deep pockets. I know where the money is coming from, but I'm not going to get into it here. Anyway, they have a lot of money, and they spend all the money on these amazing bourbon experiences. So if you want to spend 10 grand, 15 grand and go on these experiences, they have their bourbon collection's insane. So you go on these trips, and then you could drink some of these awesome bottles. And I'm talking about bottles that are pre-prohibition. It's insane what he has. Anyway, long story short, they put us up at this hotel called the Global Ambassador.
So who is us? You and your girlfriend?
Me and Kim.
Okay.
So I'm like, I'll come in for a couple days. That'll be fun for the book launch or whatever. Global Ambassador is this bougie hotel. It's only been open for a year. And apparently, it's right across the street from where the Phoenix Suns training facility is. And so a lot of basketball players hang out there. And that's the bar to be now.
Okay.
So first night we get there, our driver from the airport to Global Ambassador was like, oh, yeah, we just heard Michael Jordan's there. I was like, what? It's like, yeah, Michael Jordan's staying at the Global Ambassador. I was like, the one we're going to right now, we're staying. Michael Jordan is staying there? He's like, yeah, he's in town because he's into racing now. So he's doing F1 and NASCAR. So they had a NASCAR event going on in Phoenix that weekend. Anyway, go there. First night, we're going to this first event. We're getting ready to go. We walk downstairs. Michael Jordan just standing, in the middle of the bar seating area, surrounded by Dirk Nowitzki and Steve Nash.
I fucking hope you had Jordans on.
How tall?
That's what I was about to ask you.
How tall is Dirk?
Dirk
Isn't he
is huge.
6'10"?
It was crazy because Jordan, I feel like would have been bigger, but Dirk was freaking tall.
Well, he was a specimen, but wasn't he 6'10"?
Dirk?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's close to 7 feet.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
really close to 7.
Steve Nash isn't actually, he's not
He's
that
only
tall.
6'1",
but-
right? Or
Yeah,
6'2",
6'1", but
6'2"?
cool guys. I mean, they were kind of waving hi to everybody. Anyway, so me and Kim, and we're kind of standing outside with our group, and then they leave.
I'm sorry, you would have to fucking peel me off of Jordan if I ever saw him.
Yeah.
In a way that, not in a weird, but I would.
You'd be the guy in the corner staring at him, wide-eyed.
No. So here's my thing. Listen, Michael, look over here.
Yeah.
He'd be like Dwight Schrute.
No,
Michael!
No, but honestly, listen.
Dwight Schrute.
Jesus. I have been around a ton of celebrities, and I will not bug them. Mm-hmm. I sat, honest to God, one right across the aisle, but one booth away from Jerry Seinfeld. Did not bug him.
Did you start hitting the table?
No, I didn't do anything. I didn't bug him. I looked over a few times just so I could like take the mental snapshot of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was in New York with a buddy of mine, and we were just hanging out. And I looked over, I was like, "Holy shit, that's Jerry Seinfeld."
I've been lucky enough to my old job. I had a boss that hung out around a lot of celebrities. I got to meet a lot of people, but
I haven't met as many as you probably.
I was never just same as you.
Yeah,
was never like.
But I'll tell you,
make that.
If I ever saw Jordan in person, I would go out of my way to be that guy.
Yeah.
And just say, "Hey, I'm sorry."
Kermit.
But I would at least just come over and just say, "Hey, can I shake your hand?" And that's it.
Okay.
Just because I would love to meet him.
I would love to see.
Hey, don't forget you were shoulder to shoulder with Teddy Swims.
I was, but
nice.
And I didn't say a word to him.
Yeah,
and I was right next to Nico Moon. Didn't say a word to him.
So we're standing outside waiting for our ride. He leaves the bar. So you could see him as clear as day. It's like, holy shit, that's freaking Michael Jordan. And he's walking out. Anyway, next morning comes. I have to go do an interview with Mason, and I'm waiting for my Uber to come. Before my Uber comes, I'm like, babe, I'm going to go get some coffee down at the bar. So we get some coffee. I go downstairs, and it's pretty quiet. The bar went from like 1 million people to like 3. So I'm downstairs at the little coffee bar, and I'm just sitting there getting coffee, and I'm standing here, and then I see this way. Jordan's walking in, and he literally walks right by me, and I'm like, holy shit. And he's going to pick up his wife behind me, who's sitting in the little breakfast nook behind me. Now I am wearing my Jordan 1 Low Travis Scott sneakers. I'm like, oh, yes, it's going to happen. I'm like, I'm going to meet him. I'm not sure. We'll see what happens. Anyway, so I see him. So he's behind me. Then he's like, okay, let's go. And then, so I know he's moving behind me, and he's got a towel with him. So he's either going to the pool or the spa or whatever. So he's like walking behind me, and I'm kind of glance over my right shoulder. I look at him.
Stick your foot out.
He looks at me dead in the eye. He goes like this, and then he looks down. And then he looks at me again. He goes, "Cool shoes, dude." And me, what do I say back? I say, "Thanks, Mike." Where do I get off calling him Mike?
Hey, but
I should have said Michael.
No,
you did it right.
No, you're on.
You did it right.
Did I nail it?
Call him
Yes.
Mike.
I want to be like Mike. Remember that whole thing?
Yeah.
Listen, you did
I
it
said
right.
it.
We grew up in that era.
Hey, let me ask you
I
this.
didn't
Hold
say
on.
any.
Hold on. I've got to ask.
What?
How many times did you practice that interaction?
I didn't. It just happened naturally.
But you, like the night before, you weren't up there going, God, if I see him, I'm going to call him Mike. I'm going to say thanks, Mike.
I will say this. When I saw him walking in, and I felt like, oh, we may have like an interaction of some sort.
Yeah. Chance.
Yeah, I was like, it was going in my head, like, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? What am I going to say? What am I going to say?
Right? You're not going to be
I did. Yeah, Dan Michael basketball, love it.
Go Bulls.
You were so good.
You shared a moment.
Yeah. So when he said that, and coincidentally, Kim and I had booked a hot air balloon ride like 3 days later. And I ran up to the room with the coffees. I'm like, babe, cancel the hot air balloon ride because I'm flying high right now. I couldn't. It's awesome.
That is amazing.
The fact that he's trained to look at the shoes cracks me.
I think
Yeah,
he just.
but
Dude, he made more money
it-
on that shit than he did as a player.
But you know what, though?
Yeah, he did.
He probably was like seeing that you were recognizing him. And then he probably knows, like at this point in his life, he probably knows that any interaction with him by anyone who's a fan, it's probably gold.
Oh yeah, he knows.
Like you're
he knew what he
always
was doing.
going to remember that. Now,
Yeah.
right.
That's really
the fact
cool.
that he said that to you. You're always going to remember that. And so I bet I mean, listen, you can still be humble and still understand that. I don't know if he's humble or not, but you know, on
I
the
feel
court,
like
the court, he was not humble.
Oh no,
But he shouldn't have been.
He
And-
shouldn't
and
have
that
been
was
the
kind
way
of
he
part
was,
of it. That was
That's
part of
the
his
mystique.
thing. Yeah. But
So he walked by, and then after I said that, I said, "Thanks, Mike." His security guard kind of like patted me on the shoulder, like that was the right answer, or like that was the way to handle it.
yeah.
you didn't do too much.
Yeah, I didn't like like I didn't go yeah.
Yeah,
Although I did hear a story of
I'd
a
have
kid.
a different story. I'd be the one that got tackled because I got too close to him, too aggressive.
We have someone that just got tased here at the
That would be me.
coffee nook.
And honest to God, I am normally totally cool with being in the same room with people that are famous, and I don't care. I tried to respect their privacy, but
for sure.
but he is 100% someone I would just love to shake his hand.
Yeah,
Just be like, listen, man.
I didn't put my hand out. I just the fact that he.
Well, that's better.
The fact that he just looked me in the eyes
Because I don't own
and said
any
that
Jordans,
shit.
so like
I was like, dude.
I
And
wouldn't
you
get
guys
that- I wouldn't
know
get that
every
response.
every time I come over, I'm wearing a different pair.
Yes,
We're always wearing.
So you
different
guys know
Jordans.
but I
yeah.
own
Yeah.
none of them.
I'm
And-
ingrained in it, and when he said that, I
His-
could not believe it.
his
Of course, Kim
shoes-
didn't believe me.
Oh no way!
She's like, that didn't happen. I'm like, she's like, did you take a video? What? I'm going to take a video of him walking in the
Hold
coffee
on.
shop?
Right.
Yeah.
On the-
wait,
on the off
Michael,
chance.
Mike, can you repeat that?
Yeah. Honestly,
Nice
that makes it
shoes,
better
dude.
that it's not like uploaded, and you know what I mean.
Right.
Like that's what
Yeah.
everyone's about these days.
No,
Yeah.
because now you've got. That
I have
experience.
that, and I'm
Yeah.
so
No,
I'm so
that's
I was
cool as shit.
I was friggin' happy as shit.
That's
I've told you
awesome.
this before,
I know how
and I
that
think
feels.
I've done it on the podcast. But I always wanted Jordans, and I never got them. I never got Jordans.
I'm going to get you some Jordans for Christmas.
No. I bought a pair finally when I was in like my 30s
Yeah.
because I was in a basketball league at a church I was in. I was in a basketball league, so I was like, I'm going to go out and get myself
Did
some
you want to
Jordans.
be like Mike?
I do like the dunks,
but I
man.
just,
The
I
dunks
just
look
love,
good.
I just love Jordan, man.
Yeah.
We all look. How old are you?
47.
47. So I'm 2 years older than you, but we're in that same ballpark. We grew up idolizing him.
I watched him crush my Knicks every year,
Listen,
but I still was in awe of him.
Right.
and I can appreciate.
You hated him, but
the
you loved him.
basketball player he
Right.
was.
Patrick Ewing.
There were two iconic posters growing up because I'm close to your guys' age, right?
Tom.
One of them is the Bo Jackson where he's got the shoulder pads
Oh,
on
yeah, yeah,
and
yes.
the baseball
And the
bat,
baseball bat behind
right?
it. Yep,
The
yep.
other one is the Jordan with his arms spread out and it says wings and he's like palming the basketball.
Or the Jordan one where he's jumping
Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
the big one.
That's the one I had when he was in the dunk contest,
Yeah,
and he's
it-
literally just like
Yeah.
floating.
and his
over.
tongue is out.
Tongue
Yeah,
out,
tongue
yeah,
out.
all of
jumping
it.
from the foul line.
Yeah, and he had the gold chain around
Yeah.
his neck.
I
with
love
his-
that wings
with
one,
the Jordan
though.
with the Jordan.
No, I
threes on.
remember
because
that
it was
one, too.
such a wide poster
remember
to
that
put
one.
on your wall.
I remember that
It
one.
was
that one.
huge.
Yeah. I remember that. one.
So speaking of legends, what do you think about this Jimmy
Oh,
Russell?
good. That's a good way to fucking say.
You like that, huh?
This is honest, very good. Very good.
This is really good. I like the Austin Nichols just a touch better.
Well, yeah.
Wait, I think that's a given.
And I think it's the mouth coating on the Austin Nichols that makes the difference. This one it's got that same richness, that same fullness, that same turkeyness, if that makes sense.
I put that against just my standard 101 I had, and I couldn't believe how much more elevated this was against that.
Have you put it?
but
next
that's
to the 8-year?
exactly.
That 8 year?
You're getting ready to.
We're about to.
But that's exactly what I mean by like. I take that as a Jimmy Russell thing. Is standard bourbon.
Yeah.
Jimmy Russell. You know, what is his wheelhouse, like that 8 year?
He's been saying for years, like if you ask him what's your favorite, he's like, I like it about 8 years old, 8, 9 years
right,
old.
right? And that
101
generation,
proof, this
they
is what
each
he
did
likes.
different ages,
This
right?
is what
Like, and so his was
it's
like 8
fitting.
years, right?
And I'm
Yeah.
glad like Wild Turkey and Campari didn't kind of force the issue and do something.
Make him do something
ultra
ridiculous.
limited and
Yeah.
super expensive.
No,
The
this
legs
is
are
beautiful.
ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, these were specially selected 8 and 9 year barrels from some of Jimmy's personally favorite warehouses
Yeah.
that were blended together and to make this, and it definitely tastes like it.
To be honest,
love it.
This is good. Like you said, I think that's a great way to describe it.
If they didn't
Wild
have
Turkey
Russell's,
101
if they didn't have
elevated.
Russell's 15 this year, that would probably be my favorite turkey release this year.
Really,
Yeah, I think it's that good.
It is.
and for $50, I mean, it's great.
it's like a
Yeah.
sore penis. It's hard to beat.
I didn't expect that.
I've heard it.
I've heard it, but that one
Yeah.
kind of came out of left field. That was a good one. That was
Did
a
I
good
tell
one.
you my boss gave me an update to that? So I
did?
always say it's like a sore penis. It's hard to beat.
Okay.
So I said that to him while we were on a work trip, and he just died laughing. And then just like an hour later, he's like, you know what? It's like a soft penis. You can't beat it.
So he tried to change it up on you, make it
but
better.
No, but that's good.
Kinda
Like,
good.
Right, yeah. I was like,
Kinda good.
that's not bad. So like when it's really good, I'm going to say now, it's like a soft penis. You can't beat it.
The
You know?
one-upper.
Because I always say it's like a sore penis. It's hard to beat, but you can still try. But if it's soft, you can't try. There's nothing
It's
to try.
not happening.
You're
Right,
just-
why are you looking
you're just-
down, dude?
It's a soft penis.
He's soft.
I'm just like,
He's
well,
soft right now.
I literally just
I
watched
don't
him do this. He's like, yeah.
I'm just like, what the fuck is next?
He's like, yeah.
Hey, but here's the funny thing. My boss. The
It's
other
a
thing
semi-penis. It's
hold on. My boss
might go your way.
Another thing that I just recognized today, and I just realized that I've heard him say the phrase a few times, but I just recognized every time he says the phrase, he does something. So he said knock on wood today. And he went he
Oh, God.
he tapped at his crotch.
I have seen that before.
So
Yeah.
I called him out on it. And he's like, "Oh my God, you saw that?" He's like, "I subconsciously do that now." So he says knock on wood and he'll tap at his crotch. And he's like when I think about it, it's even more disturbing because that's implying that I am currently aroused.
Yeah.
And we just started laughing today, and I was like, "Oh
God.
But that's funny. Like,
Jesus.
'cause at some point, he created the habit of saying "knock on wood" and doing that, and now he just did it in a work environment, which I don't care, but like someone might get
Right.
offended by that.
I'm guilty of that too sometimes.
Being inappropriate at work.
No, just knock on wood in the fashion that I'm not going to.
I feel like people always like did it on their head, like
knock
oh,
on
knock on
wood.
wood. Yeah,
No,
I always actually look.
different head. Like
No.
no,
I have
boys.
definitely done that.
hurts.
before.
Knock on wood. Skeet skeet.
You're slinging wood. What are you doing?
Swing, swing.
All right,
Jesus.
let's move on to the next one. And then, does anyone have anything else they want to add to opening a new bar?
We've touched on cocktails. We've touched on your foundation, getting around that foundation with some eclectic
Yeah,
brands.
I think eclectic is important. I really do.
Yeah, I think
touched
eclectic
on
brand.
finishing.
Obviously, building bourbon flights, I think, is important for a bourbon
I
bar.
didn't even think about that. That's a good call.
Yeah, bourbon flights, doing kind of a core range, doing an upper range if you have higher end stuff, doing a craft
I mean, shit, you
flight.
could do a whole bunch of local if there's. Good
And this is
locals,
something
you
that
could
I
do-
think every bourbon bar should have, and I know it's probably tough to do. It might be easier for like more of a bourbon experience place, like in Kentucky, where you would go. But I really feel like it really works at a bourbon bar. If there was like a separate room where you can go in and do a blind pour, like a blind pour experience.
So like almost like a curated flight.
Yeah.
And it's blinded by maybe maybe they've selected like 10 that they go to at all times.
That's what I mean. Like secretly, like make a few blind tastings. Name it something like cool, like what craft whiskey does beat Kentucky, or will it beat Kentucky? And then you have something
Yeah.
mixed in.
Change it up each month.
Is Pappy really the best? Like have a big money
and
flight.
have one of them in there.
One
be
of
a
them is Pappy, and then you
of
have
sort.
some others in there. Like
What's
That's
it
not a
called
bad
when you?
idea.
Yeah, I
What's
was
it called when you have all of like the E.H. Taylors? Is that
The
just
vertical.
Like, the vertical. Have a vertical because it stands out.
yeah,
If you have,
That's what I mean,
There's
like,
a
what's
ton
the
of ways
best?
to do flights, and
There's
that's a great idea.
Yeah, I think there's ways to do flights, and there's also a way to do some like blind experiences. Because I think every Joe Schmo that walks into a bar,
Blind at a bar. That's
Yeah.
a good idea.
like every like Joe Schmo that walks into a
have you
bar.
ever been to a bar that's done a blind?
No.
That does blinds?
I've been
That's
to a bunch
great
that does
idea.
flights.
That's
but
brilliant.
We did that in
Honestly, I'm not-
Wisconsin.
I don't say that very often. That's brilliant. That's
Appreciate
a good
it.
idea.
We were drinking in Wisconsin for a work thing, and one of our docs was like trying to get into bourbon, so he
Hey.
convinced the bartender to give us blinds.
How
He would be
was
like,
the-
"Go behind the bar."
Yeah.
How are
and
the old fashions there?
we were drinking neat
I thought you had some weird experience there with an old fashioned, where it was like
in Wisconsin.
where they were using weird stuff.
Well, they put cheese curds in it.
That would be fucking good. Cheese curds on like a toothpick, like
no,
a garnish.
Instead of cherries, instead of Luxardo cherries.
cheese curds.
I swear there was a place that you went to. I thought it was Wisconsin.
It's the easy
That
cheesy
you
old
went to a
fashioned.
trade show and you ordered an old fashioned. And you were like, "What the fuck is this?" And it was something weird.
I mean, maybe,
they-
but I don't think it was Wisconsin.
I don't think it was Wisconsin. It was just Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
I don't think there's an Eastconsin.
I mean, it's west of us.
That's
But
true.
it was
Fair
funny.
enough.
He convinced the bartender to serve us blinds. He would like go behind the bar and he'd be like, "Bring us 4 of anything. We're gonna guess what it is." And we did
I
that
would
for
hate to
like.
see that bill because if you're a dickhead bartender, you could really make some money on that.
I didn't fucking pay for it, so.
Well, yeah. No, I'm not saying you did.
I'm just saying, I think some really cool because every guy that will walk into a bar that's like they see Pappy 15, they think it's like the greatest thing in the world. All right, like it'd be a cool like
It
marketing thing, like for the
probably was
bartender.
when it was,
But
Stitzel Weller.
But it'd be like,
Pappy.
hey, he's like, I gotta have Pappy. It's like the best thing I've ever had. He's like, you want to put that to the test, buddy? He's like, you have a blind thing.
Yeah.
I could put you. He's like, come see how good it is.
Yeah.
And then we could
There you
test
go.
it.
Give you like 3 things. There's like a Pappy and then 2
Pappy
others.
really the best?
Yeah.
That's the blind.
That's the blind.
And they do it up against 3 or 4 things that they know might.
And it could be like same age
good idea.
range or even something that's like a barrel pick. Like take one of your barrel picks. Like, oh yeah, our barrel pick just beat Pappy. By the way, it's for sale. In the
Right,
back.
yeah. That's
Dude,
fucking
come on.
clutch.
There it is. Look at this.
Guys
already-
that are opening bars, you're welcome.
That is honestly. You got to get a
You're
single barrel
welcome.
program, but
Well, you don't have to do a single barrel program. A lot of times these bars have the clout to.
well, yeah.
I'm telling you right now
colossal
that
clout.
I don't think that export 8 years is going to come close to Jimmy. I don't know if you want to taste it or if you want to jump into the non-chill filtered rare breed.
Let's jump into the non-chill filtered.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could try
Just
that
because
one,
we're getting, we're getting
Let's
in
jump.
here.
Let's jump
because
into
I do
the,
want you
rare
guys
breed.
because I do want you guys to try the single rick house.
Jump
Yeah.
into the rare breed.
There was it the single Rick House F, I think, that you let us try a
The
couple years ago.
CNF was my bourbon of the year.
That was that last year or the
last
year
year?
That was
before?
last year.
That was unreal. I remember tasting that and I was just like, "What the fuck is this?"
Did you,
And so-
hey, that cork's still intact. That's weird.
Look how little it is, though. That's why JD can handle it because it's so small.
It's so small. It's so tiny.
He's gonna laugh
Look
like,
how he, I know that's his bottle, but look how he giggles more bourbon in his glass. Just
That's
keeps
what- yeah.
rolling in.
I think that was by design.
Yeah,
I think you faked the giggle to get more
to
bourbon.
get more
in.
bourbon in there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch for that.
Surprised you
when
didn't
we
do
bring
that
it
with the.
over.
Did you see me pause and look and giggle more?
I did see that. Yeah, the second giggle.
It's not bad.
Yeah, but I don't think it's as good as that.
No, it's not as good as either of these. These are so far the Austin Nichols and the Jimmy 70s.
I hate to admit it, but I really like that Russell's 10-year because I do not like that typically.
Yeah,
And I know everyone's
Well,
like,
it's
out
more. Is
From
that
that
more of like a
perspective-
surprising bottle?
Yeah,
for you?
from that
yeah.
perspective, I agree with you.
'Cause-
It's a surprising.
And my friend at work's been talking about that, and he said he's been searching on OHLQ. He said like Russell's 10-year is gone
The
everywhere on
rare breed hole is
OHLQ.
tiny.
It is tiny.
It is.
It's a tiny hole.
That's
All right, so Wild Turkey Rare Breed export. Well, I should say travel retail only. For some reason, only the travel retail one is non-chill filtered, whereas the one that we get here stateside is chill filtered.
And it's 1 liter.
Yeah, and this is same proof, 116.8, and this is a full liter.
this one's non-chill filtered.
Yeah.
Tyler.
Not Tyler. It was owner of Opa.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Ginty.
Ginty was singing the praises of non-chill filtered.
Oh God, that's good.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it's really good.
You didn't waste any time. You skipped right past.
I can't smell anything.
The nosing.
down here.
Here,
The,
do you want me
what
to
you
take?
damn-
Do you want me to take the plug in and
too
shove it
late
right up your
now.
nostrils?
You might as well.
I give the Jimmy 73.9.
I'm going to tell Trina tonight that everyone was complaining that she had all these.
Yeah, all her.
She loves like they're everywhere.
I know she loves smells.
but they're everywhere. Like there's probably 4 in this room. I'm not
Yeah,
kidding.
and it's not a big room. How many do you need?
Apparently 4.
What scent is in it, by the way? What is it called?
It's some
Christmas
Christmas
cheer?
scent. I don't know.
Christmas
I don't
cheer.
listen. I take no part in the decoration. I just do the.
So I
the
got
grunt
2
work.
cinnamon sticks shoved up my nose already. Like the minute you walk down here.
I do the grunt work of the
Where'd you get this,
decorations.
JD?
I traded for this from a guy who
This is really
came
good.
back. It's really, really good.
Well,
See, man, they didn't have shit when I traveled internationally. They had a bunch of fucking Japanese whiskey
because
in
you
Madrid's
traveled to the
airport.
wrong.
I went to
ports.
Spain. What do you want from me?
Where did you fly through in the U.S.?
Columbus to Charlotte, Charlotte
There's
to
your
Madrid,
problem.
Madrid to
That's-
Jerez.
See, Charlotte never has anything.
Boston didn't either.
You got to go through Miami. Miami's a good one.
I'll put some feelers out.
New
for you.
York has a good, depending on which New York airport, but New York generally has some good ones. Miami's a really good one.
Dude, every time I travel internationally,
Dallas is
everyone
decent,
has
too.
the Sinatra, the Jack Daniels
Yeah.
Sinatra.
But
and I don't.
that's
it's a
sitting on the
marketing
shelves.
bug.
No, I don't want it. Exactly, I pass on it every
But it's
time.
sitting on the shelves in Columbus.
The way Frankie liked it.
You know what is also interesting in Columbus that's
Mm.
sitting on the shelves? I told you this last night. Larceny barrel proof sitting on the shelf. Just sitting on the shelf. It's
wasn't-
not like at the
the
front counter.
market's getting a little saturated.
Well, that's
No, C924. I wasn't a huge.
it
fan.
wasn't, and it might taste better now that it's opened up.
Maybe.
Last great barrel proof C924 was mad too.
Yeah, I
Which
thought
one?
that-
C924.
Larceny.
Yeah, Larceny.
Yeah, I thought it was
You mean Elijah Craig?
Elijah Cook barrel proof.
Oh, sorry.
I thought it was okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, but I mean,
A124 was good.
But I tell you what,
here's
even
the thing about Elijah Craig barrel proofs. Even bad Elijah Craig barrel
they're
proofs
still
are better
really good
than a lot of bourbons.
Yeah.
Larceny
true.
barrel proofs, that's not necessarily the case.
Yeah, Larceny Barrel Proofs stuff. I
When
think
they
they've hit,
miss,
I think they've
sometimes
hit-
they miss
I think
big.
they've hit their stride, and I feel like it's getting more consistent. But I'm not
Have you
sure.
had the C924
Yeah, I did.
brought it
on the
show.
I did a review on all 4 of them.
of the Larceny?
Oh, I'm sorry, Larceny.
all 3 of them, not 4 of them.
I meant Elijah
You did
Craig,
the
sorry.
Larceny also?
Yeah, I did the blind of all 3, and the C924 actually won for me.
Of the Larceny?
Yeah, between B and A.
I might have to reopen it or
Yeah,
drink
we'll
it. Because,
revisit.
and the
As
day
far
we
as
had
the
it, we
Elijah
had a lot of
Craig,
other stuff.
yeah.
so-
Elijah Craig, my favorite ended up being B.
B. Yeah, B this year was pretty good.
I like B.
I agree with that.
C for me was just missing something. I don't. It was a solid batch, but I don't know.
Yeah. But like I said, any Elijah Craig
It's still going to be
is
better
still
than,
better than
most
yeah,
of the.
That's the thing. And it's
allocated
still under
stuff.
$100.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
all right. What do we get on this one? I think the nose on this smells of wild turkey, which is great. It's a higher proof. This is the highest proof we've done tonight, right?
I get
So far.
aged.
Yeah, 116.
So far.
I get
yeah.
aged Glade plug-in.
It's Bath and Body Works. But
Oh shit!
that's funny.
Body Works. I get aged pillow stuffing.
Plug it in.
The
plug
frosted
it in.
cranberry is breathtaking.
This,
What an ass.
interestingly enough, this is probably the most citrus forward out of the ones that we've had so far. And usually, I get a lot of citrus from wild turkey. I get a lot of like orange, like creamsicle
Orange is the
type
one.
thing
Yeah.
here.
If I get citrus from wild turkey,
Yeah.
it tends to be orange for
Yes, me
Orange
too.
creamsicle for sure. A lot of vanilla cream.
me. Oh,
Kind of the inside of a long john. Damn, like that subtle but like sweet cream.
Now I want some
That
fucking
is a-
donuts, man.
that is a great. Have you guys ever had Der Dutchman Long John?
Yeah, that's
Oh
what
my
those are the
God.
exact ones I'm
the
talking about.
maple or whatever it is that they do. That's
Yeah.
oh,
Oh.
my God.
Custard or cream?
No, cream.
No, it's cream, but it's
yes.
but it's a
they
ma-
offer custard too.
No, he's
They have custard
asking,
ones.
which
Der
do you
Dutchman?
prefer?
Which one do you prefer?
I've
Custard
never
or
had
cream?
it.
You never had a custard donut?
A Long John at Der Dutchman
Yeah.
custard? I don't think so. It's always been
Yeah, it's
cream
like
for
it's
me.
like pudding on the inside.
Yeah.
yeah. I don't think I've
No,
ever
I want
had a
the, I want
custard.
the cream.
You've heard that joke, right?
I don't think Der Dutchman
Bill
does
Cosby and
custard.
pudding. You heard that Bill Cosby likes pudding?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Putting his
I've had
dick where it don't belong.
Okay. Jesus.
I work right near there in the wintertime. I break
Yeah, they
over in the
ask
morning
you.
and get
They
some.
ask you. You want custard or
At
cream?
Der Dutchman?
Yeah.
I've never
in the
been
mornings.
asked
The,
that.
the custard go quick.
Why?
Because they're
Who
more
wants
rare.
custard?
They only make 5 the whole day.
They're Dutchman LEs.
Ellie, I was going to say.
The LTOs. No, I don't want custard. I would
They want
rather
cream.
have cream.
The cream, they're
the
really
maple.
good.
Is it maple that they do?
Yeah, they have a maple chocolate
Yeah.
and
And that
vanilla
is-
glazed.
The maple is phenomenal.
But the key is to have, because the cream is not really that sweet, which I think is great.
Right.
But
It
you
doesn't-
have it with the icing, you get that
icing
perfect
is-
bite.
yes,
Dude, that's what makes it.
100%.
All right, fritters. Have you had the fritters?
Oh yeah, they're fritters.
not a-
I get the
not a-
blueberry fritter's good. The apple fritter's good.
Apple
blueberry.
fritter is pretty good.
Blueberry
the
fritter
blueberries
for
where it's
me.
at for me. Out
You got to
there.
get the fresh fritter because sometimes you get like
yeah.
the
Once
oily
they
one.
sit when they sit for too long, they become a little hard.
Gets
and-
oily and
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah.
But no, their blueberry fritter there is outstanding. At the Der Dutchman. Whew.
I had a teacher that couldn't say my last name, so she called me Fritter.
I like that. Hey,
I don't know why that's like so perfect.
Can
we just call him Fritter now?
Fritter. I don't.
listen?
I'm not against it.
JB Fritter?
He just created his own nickname.
He did. He did. Fritter.
Oh my God. You are so Fritter.
I might
going
put
forward.
Fritter on the back of his T-shirt for the trip.
I frittered up.
You are so Fritter.
You are frittered for now.
You're frittered.
Frittered for life.
right.
Actually, really quick, going back to what you were saying about the Larcy sitting on the. Did you guys hear about MGP or Ross
Yes,
and Squibb?
yes.
Cutting back bourbon
did.
production.
Yep.
They're cutting
Big
back
time.
production because big time because demand
Well,
and
Remus
whiskey.
and Gatsby are just sitting on the
Is
shelves
that because
too.
more people are going to Bardstown now, and it's Green River also sourcing, or no?
no, I just
Green River is contract distilling?
Contract distilling. Okay.
well, Green River's make. Well, what do you mean? They're making their own
So,
stuff.
like
But they're contract distilling for others.
MGP is
Oh, yeah,
not
yeah.
the only brand people are sourcing.
Yes,
is what I'm
yes,
saying.
yes, yes.
Is
Yes.
that a
Yeah.
primary reason why?
No, I just think it's mainly financial. Bourbon consumption and bourbon purchasing is just down.
So I feel like it got really
Good.
big during COVID, right? Because
listen,
people were
good.
looking for hobbies and
because
things to
maybe
do.
flippers will stop flipping.
No, they won't. They haven't stopped.
No, they
because they still wait for that. Well, I will say that prices have come down on certain bottles.
Yeah.
Like you can yes, it's still expensive, but you can get a George T. Stagg on the second name. So I saw one for like $5.50 the other day.
Wow.
I saw a Russell's
usually
13 for $180.
Yeah.
Send me that link.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I would buy a Russell's 13
Russell's
for $180.
15 went from like 800 down to it's like $350 now. 400.
Wow.
Yeah, 325-ish.
So the market has softened quite a bit. However, the bourbon market, I think it's what we're going to start seeing. I've been saying it. I've been saying it on my live streams. People have been asking about it, talking about it.
Well, how much everyone's increased their production.
This is the thing that's crazy.
New brands still.
Buffalo Trace just did a huge expansion.
People ramped up the production during the boom, and now all this stuff is aging. And if the market's softening now, what does that look like? And
we're going to start getting some great.
We're going to have some
ultra-aged
like
stuff.
10, 15 year shit.
Could the market have softened due to the economy being so blown out?
I think it was partly that, and also partly, like you said, oversaturation,
overproduction.
Just way too many brands, and you got to remember, think of the timeline. COVID, a lot of the bourbon curious people got into bourbon because that's all we could do.
Nothing else to do but drink.
So they got really into it.
Now
probably went
bored
all,
of it.
probably went all in, bought all this shit up, and now they're probably bored. They're on to the next thing. And they want to do whiskey. Maybe they're focused on health now more. And they just want to drink anymore. Who knows what it is?
Whoa! I'm pretty sure bourbon and health are like the same thing.
It's it's the same thing. I don't know where they get their. I don't know where they get their data.
What do they mean by?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Hey, let's buy Old Carter.
That's kind of a sad story.
I know that sucks, but let's buy it. Let's go in together.
And we'll hire Mark, just like dude
So,
said.
man, I was talking about like the whole like blind bourbon room thing. I was like, that would have been my idea for the Mash and Drum like whiskey room in Louisville.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Have the whole bourbon bar, and then you have like a blind bar in the back, and then also I wanted to do like a sourced. Like have a bunch of barrels back there, and guys could walk in and do their own blend and walk out with a bottle.
Do an extra tiered membership that gives you access to that.
Yeah, but I don't have a gazillion dollars to buy that space, unfortunately.
If we buy
let's
Old
fucking
Carter, you
go
can
in
have
together.
the upstairs.
Huh?
If you buy Old Carter, we can have it upstairs.
Just buy the upstairs. That's it.
No, buy the
Old
brand.
Carter.
Classic fritter.
Classic.
Buy the brand of Old Carter and see if we can get the upstairs included.
And we'll hire Mark.
Yeah, that's,
Well, you get all their
that's gonna
barrels
be
too,
a cheap.
which is crazy.
Listen. I think we could, if we put a business plan together, I think we could go in and buy
You can
it
do it.
and keep Mark on staff.
We'll have Fritter in the corner signing autographs.
Yeah,
Do I have to sign Fritter?
Fuck yeah, you do.
that's part of the business plan. Just have Fritter on staff.
Actually, Fritter kind of makes sense because it's kind of sort of your last name.
It's kind
You're
of
like,
really?
Fritter's drinking all the profits.
Why are we losing money?
Look at Fritter's pour.
Fritter's laying in the corner.
Oh, that could be a fritter pour. Like, that's a term.
Oh, the Fritter pour.
Fritter pour.
Pour.
Oh, geez.
This is becoming just amazing.
Yeah.
So much marketing
It's
capability.
growing.
Yeah.
That's not the only thing that's growing.
Hey-oh.
Oh, hey.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. So
not hard
Bart's-
to beat anymore.
So Bardstown Bourbon Company. I was talking to the CEO of Bardstown Bourbon Company at that event in Phoenix, and he was saying that they're scaling back too, not so much on production, because they do a lot of contract distilling, but on limited releases, which I think every distillery should be doing.
That's what's being
And
saturated.
here's my gripe. Limited releases that are coming out from the big distillers. The problem is the big distillers have such great quality whiskey that's on the shelf, or like even the ones that are available but not like readily available. You know, their limited releases are generally not always better than those standards. So like Little Book Infinite was like a great example. Like that was okay. I'd rather drink Knob Creek 12, to be honest. Yeah. So if you can't make your limited releases or if not
as good as your shelf offerings,
or if not better, then we're just wasting money. Yeah. So what I think is going to happen, you're going to see, at least from Bardstown Bourbon Company's perspective, I think what they're going to start doing is scaling back, maybe doing only 2 limited releases a year, really putting all their eggs into those 2 baskets,
and
really building it up and making them fucking phenomenal.
I would prefer
that.
Good.
Me too.
Are you going to get
That's
the
what a
bourbon
limited
lore?
release should be.
I have it already. You want to try it? All right. Next time I come over, I'll bring it.
Did you get the silver?
So I
Bardstown?
talked to Kenny Mills,
Yeah.
and he was part of that kind of with Ryan Alves.
Yep.
Did you get the Silver Oak Bardstown?
I've tried it. I'm not a fan. I like the other.
It's sitting on the shelf.
I like
I
the
don't like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's dry.
It's dry.
It's very It's very Cabernet forward.
Oh, well, that'll do that.
I will say
the Carter was better.
Yeah, I like
Oh, the Carter's outstanding.
Yeah.
All right, guys, what do you think of this wild turkey rare
wish-
breed
Really good.
I wish I could get it here.
non-chill filtered?
I think.
I wish we can get it here.
I agree.
When you do it side by side, I'd be curious if you guys get I don't get the huge difference that some people say they get between the non-chill filtered and the chill filtered,
Why doesn't Wild Turkey let us do rare breed single barrels?
because it's a blend.
Well, but so is nothing else that I'm about to say.
the 10-year.
Oh man! I'm sitting there thinking Russell's single. No, not Kentucky Spirit.
Russell's
no,
10-year.
I was like, wait, none of them are.
Russell's 10 years a blend, 101's a blend.
110's not too far off from 116.8. So, I mean, the Russell's Reserve single barrels are just fine.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
I'm picking up what you're.
Well,
putting
that's
down.
what it would be. There would be a kind of a range of aged barrels, and you would proof it to 116.8, and that would be your, I guess, rare breed. But I doubt it would have the different nuances that rare breed has because it's a blend of multiple
Right.
ages.
Right.
And I think the highest age in rare breed, I think, is 12 years.
I think so.
So
9, 12.
And I don't think they're going to be breaking out 12-year barrels for barrel picks.
All right, so we've got.
We got to do the
Single
rick house.
rick
I
house.
really want to get your take on that.
I've been saving my
So
pour for
what is
this one.
This is this year's. This is this year's release, right?
This is
Before
this year's.
JD pours out the rest of it, I want to
Yeah.
get some.
So this is the third release in the Russell single rick house.
I know I was going to take it. Well, do you have a new glass, Jason? You want a new glass?
I'm good.
You know what? You know who doesn't get a new glass? JD.
Whoa.
I was going to take a new glass.
Okay. I don't need
If
one.
possible.
So
There's new ones in the other room.
So Russell Single Rick House focuses on terroir and all the different rick houses in and around Wild Turkey. Camp Nelson has been, has been all three releases. Camp Nelson C, which is not even functioning anymore. That was the first release.
That's the one that they had to tear down, right?
Yeah.
That's a fucking from 1989.
Guys, just so you know, dude keeps opening bottles and showing the cork is intact to pour Brett.
I showed him my cork,
It's
too.
crumbled my life over there.
Hey, that's why you're not allowed 100 feet within
Yeah.
range of schools.
Yeah.
You keep showing people your cork.
Classic fritter.
Fucking fritter.
Anyway, Camp Nelson F was the crazy good one you guys all loved last year.
Yes.
So now this is the third one. This is the Camp Nelson B.
So good. And it was chill filtered.
Will there be an A?
This is non-chill filtered.
I was joking.
I'm just letting you know. You could say non-chill. There you go.
Non-chill filtered.
Thank you very much. I feel better now.
Ooh.
Fritter just frittered the shit
just
out
got
of Brett on
frittered.
that one.
You just got fried by fritter.
Yeah.
Look, the giggle pour. He's doing it again. He just keeps going in his glass. You giggling son of a bitch, Fritter. Give me the
He's
bottle.
going to drop the bottle, yeah.
He keeps giggling
He's
every
so
time
red.
he's got a pour. So
He's as red as your sweatshirt.
hold on, for those of you
what the
listening
hell, dude?
and cannot see what's happening,
It's not that bad.
every time, well, it's more than any of them.
No, not quite.
Listen, every time Fritter,
It's a 4-ounce
God.
glass.
every time Fritter, hold on. Every time Fritter gets the bottle, he starts giggling when he's pouring, and it's like he's getting more ketchup out of the bottle.
Yeah. It's like
I mean, I'm surrounded by the funniest people in the world, so I mean, I can't.
yeah.
control it.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
not wrong.
I see it.
He's not
I see
wrong.
what I see what he did
That
there.
smells like sweet tarts.
He's not wrong.
It's a 4-ounce glass.
That smells like
The nose, I get confectioner sugar.
Yeah, sweet tarts.
That's complex.
Oh man, the nose. Did you already take a drink?
No.
You probably need to hide your evidence of the extra pour on the giggle pour. So I'd probably start taking some drinks.
I'm just showing off now.
Yeah. The nose is good. There's a sweetness. There's an underlying sweetness. Confectioner sugar.
I think sweet tarts is a great call.
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
That's what it reminds. Like when I was a kid, like those giant sweet tarts. That's
Yeah.
what I don't eat those anymore. But that's just like I
Or
remember
the
those.
fun dip.
Yeah.
I
Remember
didn't
the fun
eat
dip?
a lot of sweet tarts, but I get pixie sticks, which is a very
think
similar
it's all the
sugar.
That's
Same
kind of like the
shit.
fun dip I was talking about. That's more like.
Yeah.
Is it like
yeah.
compressed sugar or like powder sugar?
Yeah.
You know what
Both.
I mean?
Right.
Yeah, Pixie Sticks is just basically a powder version of a sweet tart.
Yeah, exactly. It's the cocaine version.
like you took
Yeah, you were freebasing Pixie Sticks.
It's like you took a hammer
Wait,
of sweet tarts.
you've
and
never
you know
taken a pixie stick to the nose?
We did
No,
that
but
shit.
I had friends
It
of mine that did
burns.
that
Fucking
shit.
burns.
On a
Fucking
dare?
idiots, yes.
Yeah.
Fucking idiot. But the Fun Dip, where they had the big white bar that you would
Yes.
dip
The
into
milk stick.
Yeah,
You
is that what it
have to
was?
Yeah, it's called the milk stick.
You have
It
to
was a milk
lick it
stick?
first so it sticks.
You got to lick it.
It's literally called a
before you
milk
stick
stick.
It? Is that what you're saying?
Lick
Yeah.
it and then stick it.
You got to lick it before you stick it. All right.
I don't know. That sounds
That's
like
like-
an insult. Like
no,
if I
that's-
want to
Yeah.
piss somebody off, I'm going to call them a milk stick.
Listen,
Milk
you
stick.
guys remember the Big Johnson t-shirts?
Yes.
I
Oh,
did.
yes.
I had a bunch
There
of
was
those.
the Big Johnson's poker room.
That's right.
It was liquor in the front, poker in the rear, or something
Yeah.
like that. I think
I miss
Yeah, it
those.
definitely wouldn't be liquor in the rear.
Do they
poker
still
in the
make
front.
those?
Oh, in
Someone
Myrtle Beach,
somewhere.
In Myrtle Beach, they still have.
Who
Someone's airbrushing
Who here
their
had
shirts.
the white hat with the maroon lettering for the South Carolina Gamecocks?
Oh, just like
Cox.
Cox.
something.
Hey, you know where he
Every
went to
kid had
school,
that
right?
same hat.
So I
You know where
had
he went to school.
Moorhead. So I had the one that just said Moorhead across the. It was white and blue
was in
though.
Moorhead,
is what it
Kentucky.
was.
Moorhead.
Yeah.
What's the saying? It's not less head, right?
And Moorhead, and it's like it's 1-0, right? It's because in is it Milwaukee, somewhere out west? I don't remember. Minnesota, maybe.
Milwaukee.
Yeah, Milwaukee. Maybe it's
It's
Minnesota.
Algonquin for the Great Land.
There's a Moorhead that's Moore, but we were just like More.
I believe it
Moorhead.
means cheese curds vagina.
Did you know what movie I was referencing when I said?
Yes. Fuck Wayne's World. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to sing
Alice Cooper.
Party time.
I was talking about
Excellent.
Milwaukee, and Alice Cooper gets all like nerdy on him, and
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh, it's Milwaukee.
Okay, yeah.
It's Algonquin for the Great Land." And they're all like, "Okay, we're not worthy."
My buddy golfed at Moorhead.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I bet he did.
Honestly, it was
A
a
lot
great.
of putting going on.
It was,
There were a lot of
bet he did.
strokes.
it was a
think
great
I've got
college,
your-
man. I had no
I think I've got
complaints.
your
I loved
club
it down
head.
there.
He tried to get
Don't
me
leave without
with
it.
him.
Yeah.
It was great. It really
You know
was.
who has my club head still?
This guy?
I
Yeah.
still have your head cover.
Old Fritter?
I've still got his. head cover.
I've been using it like a sock.
Have you?
Oh, God.
With
Can we
tissues.
make a bourbon brand called Old Fritter?
Old Fritter is using it with some tissues and lotion.
Old Fritter.
Bounce sheets.
Jesus, I don't
Wow.
even know if I want this thing.
The
back.
single Rick house.
It's going to be really it's
what
going
do
to
you
be
think?
crusty and it's going to stand up on its own.
Let it.
You ever stub your toe
Wow.
on a head cover?
I'm like, I'm chewing on it still. I'm chewing on it, but that's a good thing. It's like a caramel chew.
I haven't even had a drink
Good
yet. You guys
segue.
all had drinks?
Sorry,
No, I'm
I
fine.
couldn't help myself.
No, help yourself, man. You can help yourself. You just did. You helped yourself.
So
Go
here's the
drink.
thing: the more sips I get into this, the more underwhelmed I was with this one
Oh, really?
compared to the Camp Nelson F.
That was ridiculous.
This isn't
though.
even
Which
close.
one
That
is
was
this
ridiculous.
one? Camp Nelson. This is the single Rick House. Which one?
This is B.
Okay, so
B?
think about C. How does this compare to C?
This I like better than C, but not nearly as good as F.
Okay.
So like if there was like a tier, it's like F, B, and then C.
So you
This
like
is
this
very
one second
good.
best of the three?
Yeah, but I still think that this is a distant
Second.
second from F. F was ridiculous.
F was what we had last year, right?
Yeah,
That
you guys-
that was so.
because you guys are sipping this now, and you're not nearly having the reaction that you had when you had guys had F. You guys, there were pillows popping everywhere.
my pillow had feathers flying out.
Yeah, you
This is-
destroyed. Yeah,
Unbelievable. Man, between this and the Austin Nickel.
Wait, did you just say this is unbelievable?
Correct.
So you really, really like
do you think you would like this over the F? I
So
feel like-
it's been so long since I've had the.
it's
You know what I mean?
different.
It's
It's
hard
different.
to tell. But like,
You know
so
what?
things
Drive
we've
to your
had
house,
tonight.
grab the F,
yeah,
bring it
please.
back.
Okay, yeah.
Between this and the Austin Nickel,
We killed that bottle. Remember?
Did we?
Yes,
Oh, that's right.
it's empty.
It's-
oh shit.
it's
have
a really
I have
close
backup,
tie.
Don't worry.
I was going to say. I was about to say I'm sorry, but now I'm
You know I have a
you know
backup.
what?
I got to back up. I had to. It was too good.
What was your thought?
Between this, so out of what we've had tonight, the Austin Nickel and this are my top two.
Oh, yeah, easy.
And I like them both for different reasons. I like the proof because obviously the proof is higher in the Russell's Reserve. But there's still something about the Austin Nickel that's just... It just
This-
hits everything in the right place. You know what
This
I mean?
this B, I feel like I've had, and this is the problem with C as well. C even more so. I feel like I've had single barrel Russell's picks.
That's
that
the
can get
problem.
close to this.
Yeah.
You know what? That's what Tyler said about the Russell's 13. So
Well, he's wrong about that.
Well, depending on which Russell 13.
Yeah.
So
I might like that rare breed over C. Single
So
Rick House.
I'm going to say real quick.
Oh,
I'm gonna,
yeah, I could see that.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that my favorites for tonight were the Austin Nichols Wild Turkey,
Yep.
the 70th,
Okay.
the Rare Breed, and then the those are my favorites, and then the single Rickhouse.
After all those?
No, I'm saying that those 4 are my favorites.
Oh, well, that's what we've had
four,
tonight.
4 of the 5.
I was gonna say.
The only one that was not my favorite was the 10-year.
I mean, that's what we drank tonight.
I know.
So.
That was the joke. Thanks for picking up on that, Fritter.
Hey, I don't miss much.
Fucking Fritter.
Fritter. Just full of oil tonight. Ruins everything.
It's day old Fritter tonight. It's day old Fritter. We're getting day old Fritter.
We're not getting fresh fritter tonight.
No
We're getting
fresh
day old fritter.
Day olds.
Oh shit! This is.
By the way, everybody
this is gonna be
listening,
fun.
comments on the just say hashtag fritter on the comments of this podcast, please.
Yes.
Hashtag fritter all day, and Jude will send you a hashtag fritter shirt.
We
You
need
know
to
what?
start.
You know what? If you respond on our Instagram, I'm going to post a picture of these, and I'm going to tag Fritter.
Fritter pour.
I'm going to tag him. I will say that
is so
the best comment with a hashtag Fritter.
Can I enter?
No.
Gets
Not-
a sample
but,
of
hey.
all these bottles from Jason.
No, that's not what I was going to say.
What the?
I will send you.
I play,
listen,
guys.
Listen, hold on. Hey, the adults are talking, Tyler. I will send you a Bourbon Hunters Squatty Potty, which is the new glass that we have, which is
Yeah,
amazing.
you'll be the first to get it because we're not.
we haven't
releasing
sold
those
it
yet.
We haven't sold it yet.
Yep.
I will send you one of those, and I will send you an aged in ore flight kit that is branded Bourbon Hunters.
Very generous of you.
Dude.
It's got to
That's
be.
awesome,
It's
man.
got to be a funny, creative response with the hashtag Fritter in our Instagram on the post that goes with this actual picture. That'll be for
Yeah.
the Thanksgiving episode.
Yeah, and hashtag Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Hashtag Fritter. Hashtag Happy Thanksgiving. Good comment. And I will pick someone who gets an aged in ore flight set that's branded Bourbon Hunters.
Hashtag stuffing because that's my favorite side.
Okay. So three hashtags.
Stuffing fritter.
3 hashtags: Fritter, stuffing, and
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. And then you've
Come
got
up
to
with
make
the
a
best
funny
order.
comment.
Thanksgiving stuffing
I would
fritter.
recommend that you listen. You're obviously listening to this podcast to know that it's happening. I would recommend saying something related to this podcast that shows that you listen to it. Obviously, you did if you're doing this.
Yeah,
And
get
you'll
into it.
You'll
Do it.
get it. And then I will announce you on the episode. I don't even know when I'll announce you.
Well,
because
whenever
we're so far in advance
once
right
you
now.
once you pick the winner, you can.
I'll
you can
just
announce
I'll post it on Instagram.
Yeah, post it on
I'll post it
Instagram.
on Instagram.
Just don't stuff the fritter.
Shut the fuck
Oh,
up.
Jesus.
But watch
Holy
planes, trains,
shit.
and automobiles.
Yes.
Watch planes, trains.
Yes. All right. So
So as you guys are sipping this,
I'm actually
So-
liking it more that I'm drinking. it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it
Not
each
less.
sip a little better.
Yeah. I get this has more of a clove tobacco thing for me on the back end too. I don't know. I've had Russell's barrel picks that I feel like can get close to this.
Oh,
if
for
not
sure.
exceed it.
Listen,
Whereas the Cam Nelsonette version of that,
What
that
is the-
one would be hard to beat.
what's the proof on this one?
120.
It's hard to
change.
beat like what?
Like a what is it? Like a soft? What is it?
Yeah, hard to beat a sore penis.
Like okay.
Has there ever been a hazmat turkey?
Yes, but I don't think that's been bottled.
Oh.
So what did you say this was? Proof was?
120, which is the highest
this is-
proof. I think it's 120 and change, like 120.2, if I remember correctly. I can't see the front.
F wasn't higher than that?
No.
So I will agree with you on the Russells. I've had some Russells that I know 100%.
I like the Dude Special K over that.
I like a lot of the picks I've
Haven't had that one.
You haven't?
good.
I've got it back there. Did you not get a bottle?
I'm excited for those
No.
ones that are coming out that we picked.
Unfortunately.
The rye is about to come out.
Oh, is it? Nice.
When is that?
Probably in a few weeks.
Thanks for putting that right up next to our. I know you have no choice in this. Right up
know,
next to our
right?
trip. But I love that. I love that.
It'll happen.
Is that one I should look at?
Yeah, it's an 8-year single barrel rye from Wild Turkey for 70.
So I will not
It's like
get that.
$9.
It's
Yeah.
good.
It literally tastes
about
like
the Russell?
It's like caramel covered lemon drop cookies.
So does
you
it
can bring
compare-
that on the podcast.
Does it compare to like the Jack Rise at all?
No,
No. Okay.
because it's proof down in 101.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What about the other picks you did while you were there?
The two Russells. Yeah, the other two Russells, we don't know when those are coming in yet, but we can't wait for those two.
The mash bill on the ryes from Wild Turkey are lower on the rye, right?
Mm-hmm. They're like just
50
barely a
50
rye.
Barely
or
rye,
52 or
51,
something?
52, something
Yeah.
like that. You know.
I might enjoy that then.
Yeah.
All right.
It tastes really
Did
sweet.
you like it?
I did like it, yeah.
Yeah. Even Bruce was
Think
like,
I
And it
would-
was
you
like-
think I would like it?
I think so because no one had picked a rye from that warehouse.
well, we were the second group to get a Tyrone Q.
Yeah, I can't remember if
So it was a
what
Tyrone
was.
Q. We were only
Yeah.
the second group that entire year that got a Tyrone Q. And Bruce Russell was like, that's the barrel you want.
Yeah.
So he actually.
But
He's
did
like,
you
I don't
guys
like to-
agree with that beforehand?
oh, yeah.
We did. He's like,
We
I don't
did.
like to lead you. He's like, that's the barrel you want.
Yeah.
But you guys all agreed.
Oh, yeah.
So
It
that's
was-
awesome.
it
That's
was easy.
awesome when the guy whose job it is
Yeah.
to help guide you is telling you what you've already put.
Yeah.
You know, and every time I've been there, the groups, whether I've been with you or Bourbon Enthusiast, every time I've been there, we have picked the one that Bruce is like, that's the one.
Yeah.
So that was awesome to feel. You know,
I like this.
Yeah, if we
this is good.
If we record next week, I'll bring it.
Oh, you've got one already?
Yeah, no, they're shipping. They're shipping.
Oh, gotcha.
You
I'm
gonna
sorry.
bring the bourbon lore?
I can bring that too.
Jesus, wink a little harder there, Fritter. Do I need to call you an Uber?
No. he's just loving life.
He's loving life. All right. So, are we doing anything else on the air?
I think
I
we can
don't think
cash
so.
out.
Yeah, I
All
think
right.
Check,
I think
please.
we've
Do you need me to go
We've,
get my 10-year out of there or my 12-year or anything? I think we're good, right?
I think we've had enough turkey. I actually kind of want to do another pour of the
know.
Austin Nichols with you guys
I
off air.
kind of,
We'll do that,
I kind of do too.
We do that.
Fuck that nonsense.
Fuck that fritter.
Get your shit out of here, Fritter. All right.
But real quick, yeah, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And real quick,
Happy Thanksgiving.
I think we've talked about this before, but all right, your favorite part of the meal you're looking forward to this Thanksgiving, go.
Stuffing.
Stuffing,
Noodles with mashed potatoes on them.
okay?
Nightmare sandwich.
Or mashed potatoes with noodles on them, I said
Nightmare
backward.
sandwich after
Yes.
creating the sandwich.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
The leftover sandwich.
open face.
That is,
Yeah.
honest to God, I love that more than the actual
Stuffing,
meal.
wait, turkey, cranberry, gravy.
Wait.
Panini press it.
Hold on.
That's solid. That's a
Wait,
solid
you're,
idea.
you're missing one thing.
What?
Adding Miracle Whip or mayonnaise to the cranberry.
Blah,
no,
mayonnaise.
no.
Blah,
Well, okay,
blah.
the Miracle Whip.
I have to chime in.
I don't know what Miracle Whip is.
What?
Fake mayonnaise.
Is it a dressing or a mayonnaise?
Fake
You
mayonnaise.
don't want it.
It doesn't matter.
Really
My
quick,
point is
revelation.
when you
I
pure-
hate mayonnaise. I don't mind the Duke's mayonnaise.
But here, if you puree
New
cranberry
sponsor,
sauce,
Duke's.
if you puree cranberry sauce with mayonnaise or Miracle Whip, it is a whole different animal.
I could see that working.
And then that is amazing on your nightmare sandwich.
I have to chime in just for a second. Open face is the only way to do those sandwiches.
Fork
But-
and knife. Fork and knife.
Yes.
No,
Second,
you are wrong.
Second,
Secondly.
Not if you panini press
you
it.
take the skin
a
of the
vessel.
He's wrong. He's wrong. We'll go ahead and move on to the second
Yeah.
point that you're about to incorrectly make, Tyler.
Take the skins.
Playing the part of Tyler tonight is
take,
fritter.
Take the skins off of like a rotisserie chicken and lay them out, and then you put mashed potatoes, stuffing, turkey, cranberry sauce, and then you roll it up like sushi.
Where'd you get chicken
Save
from?
the neck for me, Clark.
Where'd you get chicken from?
You just need the skin. That's all you need. The
Hey,
skin off
hey,
of it. You
nah,
lay it down and
nah.
you
What
roll
the
it
hell
up.
is he
Hold on.
saying?
Hold on. Hey, wait. Hold on.
Did he just make a turkey sandwich with chicken skin
No,
on it?
sushi.
Yes.
Thanksgiving
He's
sushi.
using the
Sushi?
chicken
I can't
skin
even
as
say
a
the word.
fucking sushi
And you
roll?
dip it in gravy.
Hold on. Nah. He's just probably nosing through the trash.
That's what I said. Save the neck for me, Clark.
Fritter, your
Yeah.
arteries are fucked, Fritter.
What just happened?
I don't know. Apparently, we're doing chicken skin sushi with
No,
turkey in it.
We're
Thanksgiving
gonna have to do
sushi.
drug testing before each one of these episodes.
Thanksgiving sushi.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one, and
What was your favorite?
see you next.
Stuffing.
Oh, yeah,
Stuffing, yeah.
stuffing. All right. Night, guys. Thank you for joining us on yet another hunt for bourbon. Please give us a 5-star review anywhere you are listening, but if you don't, leave some constructive criticism in the review so that we can better improve our show. But until then, sit back, grab a pour, kick up your feet, and enjoy some bourbon. The Bourbon Hunters podcast has been craft distilled, produced, recorded, and edited by Dude Pool. For any questions, comments, or recommendations, please reach out to info@bourbonhunters.com